Okay, the goal of this video is for online entrepreneurs so you can maximize your dopamine, to maximize your productivity in your deep work so you can crush your business goals. I'm Dr. Thomas Webb. Why listen to me? Because I'm also an online entrepreneur. I'm doing these things. I'm trying to make this specific for online entrepreneurs. I'm a doctor. I'm aware of dopamine. I've read books on it. I've tried to apply it to my life. Tried to apply it to my own entrepreneur life. Tried to apply it to deep work specifically. I'm going to try and teach that to you. You will learn in this video what is dopamine, the difference between easy and hard dopamine. And then I'll tell you about avoiding easy dopamine, dopamine fasting, engaging in hard dopamine activities, practicing deep work, the power of delayed rewards, and then crafting a dopamine entrepreneur routine. So what is dopamine? Dopamine is basically that pleasure hormone. It's like a hormone except it's a neurotransmitter. It's in your brain. And yes, it's released with very pleasurable activities, but it's also released when you're anticipating a pleasurable activity. When you really want something, when something exciting is coming up, you'll get that dopamine release. You'll also get it when you do hard activities like going to the gym, going for a cold shower, going for a run. This will also release dopamine. There's a difference though between easy dopamine and hard dopamine, which we'll talk about. This is the dopamine graph. So this is the level of your dopamine, and this is the baseline here. As you can see, it can vary. It can go up to your peak, and the peak is basically when you have the maximum amount of dopamine in your brain attached to your receptors and you're feeling the best you can. But whatever goes up must come down. This doesn't last forever. The dopamine fades away and it takes a while to build back up to your normal baseline level. So the steepness of the curve varies depending on the dopamine stimulating activity you engage in. So if you engage in an easy dopamine activity, which is a dopamine activity you have very easy access to, doesn't require any effort, such as watching TV, going on your phone, even checking your emails, eating fast food, you're going to get an immediate rise in dopamine and then an immediate fall in dopamine. And then there's going to be a bit of a crash below your baseline, and it'll take a while to return to your baseline. If you engage in a hard dopamine activity, the rise might be slower and it might last a longer period of time. As well as the fall, it might also be slower and it might be less severe and it might go less below your baseline. We will talk about why hard dopamine is better, and you can even avoid the crash if you engage in hard dopamine, and I'll tell you why. So, avoiding easy dopamine. So we talked about what is easy dopamine. It's easy access to these things that give you just a big burst in pleasure without any effort. Watching TV, going on your phone, eating fast food, chocolate burgers, immediate access dopamine. Great in the short term, terrible in the long term, and also terrible in the medium and short term, because you're going to get that crash very quickly. You're going to feel bad very quickly. So in terms of focus, in terms of productivity, very detrimental. Okay, so one of the best things that I would recommend for you, for an online entrepreneur, for myself, I try to apply to myself, when I'm engaging in that deep work, I want to avoid easy dopamine. I want to avoid distractions. You don't want things affecting your brain. You don't want things affecting, how you feel, going very high quickly and then very low quickly and then crashing. You want to be level. You want to be pretty level when you're engaging in deep work when you're creative. Okay, so avoiding easy dopamine, avoiding distractions is very important. So when you avoid easy dopamine and distractions, you're basically engaging in a period of dopamine fasting. Now, this guy over here, this monk, might take it to a more extreme level. He might also not engage in exercise. He might not be going to the gym. He might not be running. He might not be eating any sort of food. He might be just drinking water. Who knows? But the type of dopamine fasting I'm talking about is avoiding the cheap, easy dopamine and just focusing on your one thing, your deep work. I still think that you can engage in hard dopamine, and I'll tell you why. So, engaging in hard dopamine activities, such as going to the gym, having a cold shower, these are called hard dopamine activities because it takes a degree of effort, a degree of activation energy in order to unlock the dopamine that you get from it. It's not just a matter of picking up your phone, picking up that burger, flicking on that Netflix. It's going to the gym, it's lifting weights for half an hour, it's turning on that cold water and stepping in and feeling uncomfortable. Usually there's a period of feeling uncomfortable before you get that access to that feel good dopamine. And the reason why this is so important and so beneficial is that first period of uncomfortableness often acts as that crash. You're almost having the crash before you feel good. So instead of feeling good and then crashing inevitably, you've already done the work that you've experienced that crash. You felt uncomfortable when you were in the cold shower. You felt uncomfortable when you didn't want to go to the gym, but you did anyway. So you've had that period of pain. You've gone down on the baseline, and then your dopamine is gonna. The reward is the dopamine's gonna come slowly over time. So I really recommend this, especially before deep work, because it's going to act for a long period of time. You're not going to get that crash, and yeah, it's going to be effective at just making you calm, focused, and feeling like you can sit on your own, feeling like you can power ahead on your deep work and not be bored, not be agitated, not have cravings. So this brings us to the actual practice of deep work. Deep work is a phrase coined by Cal Newton. He wrote a book on it. You might have heard of it. It's basically a period of time where you're undistracted, you're focused on your most important goals as a business person. You're not engaged in distractions or small tasks, and you really get deep into something. This is a period of time where you can access flow state. Hopefully you can get really focused, really deep, and just bash out your most important work. This is a sacred period of time. You need to optimize for this. You need to feel good for this. You will never get into this. You will never be fit for the job if you are engaged in distractions, if you aren't focused. And this is the whole point. We want to optimize our dopamine so we can do this effectively, productively, and feel good after it. So, finally, after the deep work is rewards. So rewards to me is easy dopamine. But the difference is you're doing it after the hard parts of the day. You're doing it after your deep work. You're doing it after your hard dopamine, your gym, your cold shower. You're doing it after your dopamine fasting. And it's the end of the day, and you're time to pat yourself on the back. Engage in some easy dopamine. Engage in some chocolate. Watch on Netflix, that's fine. But the reason is this is now not a distraction, this is a reward. You've earned this. Your dopamine level has already been tested. You've done you've engaged in pain periods, you've engaged in the fasting, so your baseline is probably more responsive. You don't need these things. That's why they're rewards. They're not cravings. You're in control of them, and you might only need, one couple, a bar of chocolate and watching an episode on Netflix, and that'll be enough. That'll feel like a reward. And then after, you'll be completely okay to let that dopamine come back down to baseline because you're not needing it. Your baseline is already good enough. You're feeling good enough. And then that's when you can, the cycle can begin. You can go to sleep. You can wake up the next day knowing there's that short term dopamine reward at the end of the day. And maybe over time, you will feel less and less like you even need a reward. You might really start to love the deep work and get lots of dopamine, gets lots of pleasure from it. You might start to really love the hard dopamine stuff, and you might find you don't even need reward. You can just wind down, you can go to sleep, you can skip the easy dopamine. But you might also decide you want it, you like the easy dopamine. But the difference is that the relationship between that easy dopamine is it's a reward. It's something you're in control of. You choose. You've delayed it. It's delayed gratification, and that can really just act as motivation as well to help you through the hard parts of the day. So I think that's important. This then is going to be the dopamine entrepreneur routine, what I've talked about, and in this particular order. And there's reasons for it. The first one, you wake up, your priority is to not reach for your phone, not get those cheap dopamine hits, not to get distracted. Your number one priority is to just wait it out. Avoid easy dopamine. That is for later in the day. That's for after the work is done. Okay? Now, Alex Mosey might say go straight into work. Fine. That works. If that works for you, do it. But for me, often I'll wake up, I'll feel a bit groggy, I'll feel a bit demotivated, I'll feel like I want to, I'll feel like I want a dopamine hit. I feel like I want to go onto my phone. So I'm clearly not ready to work. I feel like if I wouldn't be able to get into deep work. I'd be agitated. I'd be at risk of engaging in distractions. So at that point, for me, I want to go and engage in a hard dopamine activity. I want to go to the gym, or I want to go for a run. Okay, and then I want to have a cold shower. Once I've done that, 30 minutes in the gym, 3-minute cold shower, I've done a pretty hard thing, and I'm feeling pretty good. My dopamine's rising slowly, and it will be high enough for a few hours. So I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to feel like I can sit down. I'm going to feel like I can focus because I've got a good amount of dopamine in my brain. It's been released, and I'm going to engage in some deep work. I'm going to focus, and I'm going to do that without distraction. And every time I feel like I want a distraction or I get distracted, with thought, I'll go back to my work. Or if I have a craving, I'll say no, not yet. That's for later. That's my motivation to keep bashing it out. And then once I've done the deep work, period of time, then I can say that's me done for the day. Now it's time for reward. How am I going to reward myself for the fact that I've delayed gratification, that I've done hard activities, that I've done my deep work? I can now deserve to have guilt-free, watch that thing on Netflix, eat that chocolate bar, whatever, because I've done my work for the day. So that's what I would say is a good order, good routine. Hopefully that helps you really just feel good when you're sitting down doing your deep work. Hopefully it will make you more productive. It will feel more fulfilling, and this will allow you to crush your business goals. And over the next little while, I'm gonna keep making videos like this. Get into my school group, link in the description. where I'm going to keep giving information like this for free if you want it. If you're not an entrepreneur, the link will be in the description. Get into the community of like-minded people where we can really, my goal is to try and help and optimize you guys to be productive, to be focused, but also to be healthy. Because I believe that if you look after your health, if you look after your mind, you can really have that energy, have that focus, have that productivity, so you can crush your business goals as well. So get involved. Thanks for listening.